Have you checked out the Somebody You Love Patreon yet?
For just $3 a month, you can get every episode without ads and you get them a day early.
For $6 a month, you get all of our bloopers and behind-the-scenes action.
For $10 a month, you get monthly bonus episodes.
And for $20 a month, you also get the bonus episodes as videos.
You can cancel anytime, and when you sign up, you get access to everything that we've posted so far.
We also have annual subscriptions where you save 10% and get 1 month free.
Patreon.com/somebodyyoupod, as in podcast.
You do have to type in the URL because Patreon hides 18 plus creators from the search, so you most likely won't be able to find us by searching. That's patreon.com/somebodyyoupod. Welcome to Somebody You Love, or The Sale of Two Titties. I'm Jenna Love.
And I'm Holly Hart.
And we're experts in disappointing our parents, breaching community guidelines, and banging the people who vote against our rights.
Today we would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are recording. Jenna is on Darug and Gundungurra land, and I am on the land of the Ngunnawal people. We pay respect to elders past and present.
Welcome to Season 2 of Somebody You Love. We are joined today by Michelle Hardenbrook. Michelle is a 69-year-old. Actually, she is turning 70 tomorrow, so the day after the day we're recording this. And she's a sex worker who is based in New Orleans. She worked as a full-service escort for 12 years before COVID hit. And then she had to pivot her business, so she started an OnlyFans, had a video go viral on Twitter, and now she is in the top 1% of OnlyFans creators. Michelle was suggested to us as a guest by Sweet Sarah, who is a worker based in New South Wales. Sarah sent us a link to a short Vice documentary about Michelle, which will be linked in our show notes. We loved it, so we reached out and we found ourselves our very first international guest.
Look at us going global.
Hello, Michelle. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Michelle. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
We are very glad to have you.
Feeling very lucky. So we'll start off with the obvious question. Tell us your story. What is it? What got you started in the adult industry?
Well, I got a job offer in San Diego. And so I moved from Seattle, where I had lived for 40 years, to San Diego, California for this job, not realizing that the people I was working for, it was the family organization, were out of their fucking minds. and so I'd been there 8 months, and the family ends up in court fighting one another. And I got laid off. And I told him, I don't have a problem not working for you people because you're fucking nuts. But I have an employment contract and you need to pay that. And the corporate attorney said he wasn't going to pay that. And I said, I think you will. And I hired an attorney. And 6 months later, the corporate attorney again contacted my attorney saying, Michelle doesn't have any proof of her allegations and blah, blah, blah. And so when he got done with his little spiel, my attorney said, you mean this box of documents she gave me the day she hired me isn't proof? And he goes, what did she give you? And she picked up the sheet of paper. I had an index written down on a piece of paper, what I had in this box. And she got to the third item, which was federal income tax fraud to the tune of $9 million. And he said, she'll have her check by Friday. Okay. So I got my money, and it's very expensive to live in California. My rent and utilities alone were $4,700 a month. And the most I was getting for job offers was $10 an hour, which wouldn't even pay my power bill. And so when I was getting to the end of the payout from the company, I knew I had to do something, but I didn't know what. I figured I'd just go back to Seattle. But a guy I'd met said, well, why don't you do full body sensuous massage with happy endings? And I said, well, that sounds nice. What is it? Because I didn't have a clue. I hadn't had sex in 12 years. So he explained it to me. And I said, oh, hell, I could do that. And so I bought myself a massage table and put an ad on Craigslist back when I had the erotic section. And in 4 days, I had 25 appointments. So then I thought, okay, that proves a couple of things. Number one, there was a market for a woman my age because I was 56 at the time. And two, 25 appointments in 4 days is too many. Mm-hmm. And so I sat down and I built myself a business plan. I decided how much money I have to earn every month in order to keep, body and soul together, and divided it by my hourly rate. And that's how many clients I had to see every month. And I functioned that way for 12 years while I was an escort.
And did you move from doing the full body massage quite quickly into escorting?
It took about 6 months because I figured out pretty darn quick that, number one, men need a variety, okay? They don't want the same thing every time. And you eventually get through all of the clients that are interested in massage. And so many of them kept reaching, their face down on the table, and they're reaching in a backhanded way, looking for my crotch.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've been there.
Like, would you please stop digging around in there? That's not part of this. And so I just decided, well, might as well, let's see if the port's open. Because after 12 years of no sex, I could have been a born again virgin. I don't know. And so I just started doing it.
And it was open.
Yes, the port was open. I was so surprised. It was like, oh my God. And then the second thing I was surprised at was, how in the hell did I live without this for 12 years? But as a woman, I'll just tell you, I'll clue you in. As a woman, if you do not have regular sex, then your body adjusts and stops creating the hormones that tell you that you want it. So in the 12th year of my celibacy, I only masturbated one time. And I didn't do it because I was horny. I did it for upkeep.
Yeah.
It's like use it or lose it.
I call them functional wanks.
Oh, yeah. Really. Just kind of have to clear the board. And so that's how I got into it. And then in San Diego, I built up a client base of 100 guys, that would see me over and over and over again. And then I moved to New Orleans, and I did leave my San Diego clients in good hands because there was an older provider that I knew. And so I recommended her to my clients, and some of them went to see her and didn't like her, but that's how it is. And then I've been in New Orleans almost 10 years. And during that time, I've had 18 of my San Diego clients come to New Orleans to see me.
I don't know the geography well enough. Like, how long would that be to drive, say?
Oh, no. You can't drive. Well, you could. It's a 26-hour drive.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. They have to fly in.
Yeah.
One of them, gosh, I've seen him 7 times. Oh, wow. He flies in, he gets a rental car, he comes to my house, we do our thing, and he drives back to the airport and then flies back home.
Oh. You must be worth it.
I guess. I don't really, I take it back. I was going to say, I don't know what I do that's so special, but I do give good head.
Yes. I love it. That's a big part of it. Yeah.
Well, it's like God gave me one talent.
Very good.
It's like I know how to suck a dick.
And so what made you start an OnlyFans, and how did you adapt your business to working online?
Okay. Well, I started having some medical issues, so I went to the doctor and had a whole bunch of tests, an ultrasound, a CAT scan, an MRI. And I was facing a number of surgeries. And the first surgery was to take an abdominal mass out of me. It was attached to my left ovary. And I'd had a hysterectomy when I was 38, and they left in one ovary. And they said, well, it's kind of sickly, but it's still producing estrogen, so we're going to keep it in. Great. And so then 30 years later, I have to go in and have that ovary and a 1 pound mass removed. They should have just moved, taken the whole thing when they did the first hysterectomy. And the doctor showed me when I was in recovery, they took photographs and he showed me the mass. It was attached on the left to the ovary, and on the right, it was attached to my bowel. Ooh. And they had to dig it out. And the ovary was as big around as an egg, like a chicken egg.
Yeah, that's not what it's supposed to be.
No, that's not normal. No, it's like 3.5 times what 2 ovaries together would be.
Yeah, wow.
And so, they cleaned all that out, which threw me into menopause again. So I get to go through menopause twice. Oh, everybody else only gets it once. Yes. And it's like, oh, isn't this great? Thank you so much. Okay, so since I knew I had to have the surgery and I knew when the surgery was scheduled, I knew I had to do something to get money coming in to support me and my son, because he's disabled, during my recovery period. And several people had mentioned lots of different websites, ManyVids, Southern Charms, all kinds. So I checked them all out. And most of them I didn't like because the site controls the content. And I don't like that. I don't like anybody controlling me. If I wanted that, I'd have a fucking pimp.
Or a husband.
Oh, no, I wouldn't mind a husband.
Oh, a woman after my own heart. I want to.
Well, I've had several. I've had several. But I haven't had any husbands since 1996, I think it was. So it's been a while. So I settled on OnlyFans after I read their terms of service and realized that I don't have to post according to their schedule. I can post what I want, when I want, within certain confines. You can't post things like poop videos, okay? Or animal sex or, children. And so I decided on that. So I went ahead and started my OnlyFans, and then I needed people to come over for content. And I knew that most of my clients would not do this, because they don't want their face shown because, well, they're married. Come on, let's be real. And so I made a short little video asking for volunteers in New Orleans. Now, and I posted it on Twitter, and I only had 239 fans or followers on Twitter at the time. So I small audience. I only needed 1 or 2. And I got up the next morning and suddenly I had over 2,000 followers. My phone had 212 missed calls and like 400 and some odd text messages. And I'm going, what the hell? And so then I go over and to Twitter and find out that some guy who I guess is a famous rapper, I don't know who he is, he saw the video and he thought it was funny that at my age I would want this. And then over the course of a month, I had 5 million views. And so the month of February 2020, I ended up having 3,315 fans on my OnlyFans. I made $33,000 that month.
That's amazing.
And then in March, I went in and had my surgery, and the money just kept coming in. And then the governor in March, 2 days after I got out of the hospital, the governor in Louisiana shut down the state because of COVID. And so because I had all these physical ailments, there's no way I was going to see anybody during COVID. And so then it ended up being my OnlyFans was my only income. Well, except for Social Security, for us old folks. But that's $647 a month, and you can't live on that. Yeah. And so that's how I got into OnlyFans. And I remain there because it continues to give me money. And then when I had the documentary done, well, that was a hoot. And I had no idea that it would cause such a stir. But now over 800,000 people have seen that documentary, and people keep joining my OnlyFans. And it's like, okay, I don't understand why anybody wants to see an almost 70-year-old naked.
Oh, but come on. You
But
look
they
good.
do.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're killing it.
It's because you look banging.
And another thing that they really like is my voice for some reason.
You have a lovely voice. It's incredibly
Do I really?
charming. Very charming.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we like the accent. We like.
Yeah, and I talk like a sailor, It's fucking this and fucking
We all
that.
do. Yeah.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah.
They say intelligent people use the word fuck a lot.
Must
And
Must
so
be
I
true.
must be really brainy.
Clearly. We must all be.
Yeah, right.
definitely.
So, Michelle, like a real source of frustration for a lot of sex workers is that we have so many men in our DMs sending us messages saying, can I help you make content? And so we all find that really frustrating, but you actually put them to work. So tell us a bit about your volunteers.
Okay, so some of my volunteers are actually clients, younger clients that I used to see. And those I trust implicitly, because I've seen them a lot and I know how they are and I know that they'll follow directions. Because I don't like men that do not follow directions.
Yep, same.
It's like my ballpark, my rules. And so I will put up a notice on Twitter or on OnlyFans or both asking for volunteers. And I'm very specific, which doesn't seem to matter to them. And I tell them, you need to be in New Orleans. You need to be available weekend daytime hours. You need to be okay with condoms. And you need to be okay with your face being shown on camera. And so I get responses, well, I'm in Chicago, but I wouldn't mind flying in. And it's like, now what I want to say is, what the fuck is wrong with you? Can you not read? But that's not what I say. What I say is, I really don't want anybody flying into New Orleans because I have health issues. My son is disabled and I have to care for him. Now, if something happened at the last minute and I had to cancel and you had flown all that way and got a hotel room and a car, you would be pretty darn mad, that I canceled on you.
Yeah.
But you see, if you live in Louisiana and I cancel, it's no big deal. We'll just reschedule.
Yeah.
And some guys say, oh, well, I wouldn't be mad. Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Sure, you wouldn't be.
Yeah. You say that now.
Yeah. But most of the guys finally, they'll get the point, that no, you're not flying into New Orleans. Now, some of them say, well, I'm going to be there in December. Fine. Then contact me when you're here.
Yep. Let me know when you're actually here with
Specific.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I want to know what hotel you're at, to verify. And then I always ask them, do you have proof of COVID vaccination? And they go, yes. And I say, well, then please send me a picture of your COVID vaccination card. And you'd be surprised how many guys lied that they didn't get the vaccine because that card never shows up. And some people on the comments for the documentary say, oh, she's so worried about COVID, but she's having sex with strangers. Well, that's what condoms are for.
Yep.
Definitely.
And you can't put a condom for COVID. It doesn't.
Exactly.
No.
A vaccine is.
Do you know what the sort of rates of vaccination are where you live?
For the total population, only 57%.
Oh, wow.
We are one of the lowest vaccinated states in the country.
Yeah, wow.
The South is historically under-vaccinated because a lot of people that live here are stupid. And I'm serious. They're just...
I'm glad you said it.
It's like you are too stupid to live yet. You persist. And not only that, you're breeding.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
it just kills me.
I mean, what are the Canberra numbers, Holly? They're like
I don't know of total population, but of eligible people in the eligible age range. I think we're up to 96 or something percent.
Really high.
But Canberra is one of the highest in the world. But I don't know. Yeah, Canberra is, the capital of Australia. We're incredibly, we amenable. We listen to the government to a fault.
Yeah.
Oh, what a novel idea. Of course, we had Trump in the White House at the time.
Yeah, so maybe don't listen to the government.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and I mean,
It's like when I originally got my Twitter account, it was to troll Trump.
That's so good.
oh, we love you.
I love that. You're wonderful.
Beautiful.
I sent him something like 87,000 tweets, mostly calling him a fucking moron.
Yep, appropriate.
And I got put in Twitter jail, I don't know how many times,
Of course.
for being mean to him.
A lot more often than he did.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm being mean to you. Look what you're doing to my country.
Yeah.
You're obviously a very open-minded, liberal, wonderful woman in that regard. But while you are such an open-minded woman, we'd like to know a little bit more, if you can tell us, about some of the fetishes or more unique interests that you entertain as part of your job.
Oh, well, when I was escorting, my most unusual request was from an out-of-towner who was going to be here in Louisiana for 6 months. So I saw him 6 times, once a month. It was always on a Sunday. It was always at 9 a.m. And he would always arrive with a Go cup. You know what a Go cup is? It's a red plastic cup.
Oh, the solo cups.
Yeah, a solo cup.
Yeah,
But see, in Louisiana, you can walk out of a bar with a Go cup.
Oh, wow.
You can walk the streets drinking liquor.
That is.
And then we even have these things called a drive-through daiquiri place.
Oh.
I love it.
Yeah. And it's like, excuse me, you can't drink and drive. Well, they leave the cover on the straw, but the straw's in the cup.
Yeah.
But they need the cover on the straw. And as long as that cover's on the straw, you're not breaking the law. So you could drink the drink and put the cover back on the straw and you haven't broken the law. But you have consumed the daiquiri. Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm not much of a drinker. Anyway, and I've lost my train of thought again.
He would turn up at 9 a.m. on the Sunday.
Oh, yes. So he'd have a Go cup in one hand and a bottle of wine in the other. And we'd go up to my room, he'd sit down, he'd open up the bottle of wine, pour it in the cup, and chug it until he drank the entire bottle. And he says, okay, let's go. And so then he'd strip down, he'd lay on my massage table on his back, and I would put on a latex glove and lube it all up, and up his ass I'd go.
Love that. We're both big fans of fisting, so
Yeah.
Now, see, when he originally came, he didn't want my fist. He had this huge dildo. I mean, it was like this big around, and it wouldn't fit. And he was very frustrated with that. And he says, well, try your fists. So I did that because I have small hands. And that was fine. And he's jerking off while I'm doing this, And then he came and I pulled my hand out and, took the glove off and got him all cleaned up. And he goes, thank you. I'll see you next month. And I think it took about 4 times. And he finally told me, he said, I'm not like this all the time. He says, I'm very normal most of the time. But occasionally I like this. And I said, well, there's nothing wrong with it. You're not hurting anybody.
Nope. There's nothing abnormal about it either. I mean, I think it would surprise people how common that can be.
Well, people need what people need. And as long as you're not hurting somebody else and it doesn't involve a child or an animal, I don't care.
Agreed. Absolutely.
I just adore you. Can I keep you?
Yeah, we love you.
I think you're the best.
You can adopt me. I have no grandchildren.
Okay.
So I would love to have some grandchildren.
Okay.
Bring your
Somebody
son
to
and the
send
dog.
toys to. Although I think
We'll take toys.
She would want.
Yeah.
It would not be things like Barbie dolls.
Probably not, unless they vibrate.
Yeah, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? A vibrating Barbie head.
I'm sure that exists. Someone's
yeah.
into it. So we touched on this slightly. Like you live down in Louisiana.
Yeah.
And my perception, and do correct me if I'm wrong, but from an Aussie, my perception of that region is that it's fairly conservative and that it's the kind of area that wouldn't really be supportive of sex work and of sex workers. Is that an accurate take? And have you had people sort of react poorly to your work?
Well, it is an accurate take, although in the French Quarter, there is an old brothel that was in business until the 70s.
Oh, right.
And so while the people here are extremely conservative, the police officers are not. I had 4 police officers that were my clients.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't that weird?
Mm-hmm.
When the first one arrived, he's in uniform.
That would have been a bit of, did you get a fright?
Yeah.
Was that?
I
that.
thought, okay, what the hell's this about? And so I greeted him and I said, hi, and he goes, I'm your 11:30 client. And I said, okay. So I brought him in the house and I looked at him and I said, well, hon, I don't rightly know what to do with you. And he says that he's got some disease. I can't remember the disease he had, but it causes pain in his back. And he says, and I need a massage. And he gave me my fee and I gave him a massage and I gave him a happy ending. And he came back the next day and we did it again.
Oh, must have been a good massage.
Yeah. And then he did contact me once and want me to see him for free. And I told him, no. This is a business and you need to pay me.
Fuck yes.
And I said, I am not going to be rousted. And one time, the property I live on has this house and there's also an apartment in the backyard. My son lives in the apartment now. Okay. But when I first moved into this house, there was a guy named Greg that lived in that apartment. And on February 1st, 2016, my landlady showed up and she needed me to go into that apartment with her because he wasn't answering the phone. And we knew that he'd been ill. And so we walk in there and we call his name. And finally he says, I need an ambulance. And we called an ambulance. And by the time the ambulance got here, he had died. And so I had 2 clients that day. And I contacted the first one and I said, my neighbor just died. And so when you arrive, you're going to see an ambulance and a police car. Don't worry. It has nothing to do with me. So he came and we did our thing and he left. And when he left, I go outside and now there's 6 police cars in my driveway.
Oh, wow.
6 of them. And the coroner's van. I had to go ID the body because my landlady couldn't because she was 87 and she knew it would probably kill her if she looked at a dead body. And so I ID'd the body and then my phone rang and it was my next client. And he says, I'm early. Should I be concerned with the police presence at your house? And I says, oh, no, it doesn't have anything to do with me. That black van is a coroner's van. And I said, come on. And
I'm talking to you, so it's obviously not me.
So he came over, we did our thing, and when he left, there was nobody there. So here I was upstairs breaking the law with police on the premises. And, oh, come on, I look like a school teacher.
You look innocent enough to get away with it.
I do. Yeah. And the house I live in, from the time it was built, back in the late 70s, it has always had a business operated out of it, a business of some sort, a real estate business, a bakery business, some business. And my landlady knows I do massage. And so there's still a business here. So my neighbors on either side, they don't think anything of it. And I never saw more than 3 clients in a day. Mm-hmm. And this is America. And we can have company, we're allowed.
Yep.
And so as long as nobody is pointing fingers at me and calling the local, police and saying, by the way, we got a hooker over there on Parkway, that just never happened.
So can I just ask a quick question that's not on the list? I just wanted to know, have you, you said, that your landlady knows you do massage, but with your very strong social media presence and strong, identity on OnlyFans and stuff like that, have you had anyone that in your real life recognize you from that or say, is that you? Or have you had any reactions from people that you know?
I haven't.
That's good.
And I'm kind of surprised at that.
Are you waiting for the day?
Well, I know that my viral video got on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And so I know that there's probably a couple of people that I know that saw it, but they had the good sense not to confront me, because I don't do well when people confront me. I just tell them off.
Good on you. Yep, it's no one's business.
Because, see, my bottom line is, are you supporting me? Because if you are not paying my rent or buying my groceries or paying my car insurance, then you have absolutely nothing I want to hear. Your opinion is your opinion. You have the right to it, but I don't want to listen to it.
Love it. Yeah.
I have no interest in your opinion.
Speaking of which, something that every sex worker experiences is nasty comments and trolls. Aside from what you've just discussed, that you don't really take that sort of stuff on board, how do you deal with them? Do you like to confront and argue with them? Do you ever feel any effect from the comments, or are you above it all?
Well, I'm certainly not above it all. You know, I'm a human being and I have feelings. I handle it kind of one of two ways. My main attitude is don't feed the animals. If you don't answer them, you're not feeding them, because you're not giving them something to answer back.
Because, yeah, they live on the attention, right?
Right. Occasionally, I will answer if someone is being very judgmental. You know, I will say something like, well, thank you for offering your unsolicited opinion about my life. I'm sure we all are just thrilled with the expertise you have on prostitution. Unfortunately, the sarcasm doesn't come across, you know?
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll say something like, well, if you don't like my peaches, honey, then don't shake my tree.
Nice.
It's like, just because I'm online doesn't give you the right to insult me.
No. And I'm not forcing myself on you. You can click on a different page. You can go somewhere else.
I asked one guy that, you know, made a nasty comment about my documentary. I asked him, who held the gun to your head to force you to watch it? You chose to watch it. You could have just scrolled on by. Yeah. Not only did you watch it, and then you have to post a nasty comment. Well, fuck you and the horse you rode in on. Yep. I mean, you know, I just don't have a whole lot of tolerance for it. And, you know, when you get into a certain age, there is freedom in this. Because when I was 35, there's no way I would have just been falling into a bucket of tears, you know, that someone didn't like me. And it's like, I just, when you stop and look at it from a slightly different perspective, I am 69. Going to be 70 tomorrow.
Yes, so, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And so for 69 years, oh my God, what kind of a dog is that?
This is Hamish. He's an Italian greyhound.
Oh my God.
He's a looky.
What a cute baby.
He is a sweetheart.
Yeah, he's very clingy, as you can see. I'm struggling.
Is he a pup or is he full grown?
He's full grown. He's 6 years old. He just turned 6. Yeah.
Well,
yes,
he's small.
Got close birthdays, actually.
He is little. Yeah, he is only a little fella.
And what's his name?
Hamish.
Hamish.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a dag.
Oh, he really loves you.
He's a big sook, yeah. Aren't you? Or little sook. There we go. Oh,
Does he sleep under the covers?
Yeah, he sleeps right against me, spooning. Like, he's my little spoon and I hold him every night.
Yeah. Well, I have 3 of them under the covers with me, so I could never have a husband because there's no room for him.
That's it. I've got no room in the bed. Yeah, I've got all the cats. Yeah. Oh, good. Beautiful.
Mr. Love has been using Manscaped products for a few years now, and he swears by them. He's been using the Lawnmower 3.0, and also sometimes I steal it from his bathroom and I use it too. I'd say don't tell him, but he's editing this podcast. And yes, despite the name, the product itself is actually gender neutral.
And now we've been lucky enough to be amongst the first to try the Lawnmower 4.0. Yes, the bush is gone. Manscaped engineered the ultimate groin and body trimmer by focusing on intelligent functionality and an incredibly comfortable grooming experience. Their 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology.
Of course, here at Somebody You Love, we believe that you should groom or not groom your body hair however you wish. But trimming is a great option because you don't have to worry about all of the hassles that come with shaving or waxing, like ingrowns, microcuts, that awful itching when it grows back, and also irritating the delicate skin of your lover. If you're visiting a sex worker, it's the perfect way to ensure that everything is neat and tidy, but with no breaks in the skin that can increase your risk of transmission and infection.
In time for the holiday season and sweaty, stinky summer for those of us down under, Manscaped have released the Performance Package 4.0. Inside, you'll find the Signature Lawnmower 4.0, the Crop Preserver and Crop Reviver, which is anti-chafing ball deodorant, moisturiser and toner, a pair of Manscaped anti-chafing boxes, and the Weed Whacker ear and nose trimmer, which is waterproof and uses a 9,000 RPM motor-powered 360-degree rotary dual blade system.
Get 20% off and free shipping with the code SOMEBODY at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code SOMEBODY. Heat up your sex life with Manscaped.
We have a few questions from our patrons. So some of our followers had a few things to ask you.
Okay.
Firstly, do you know the demographic of your fan base? I assume they are mostly men. Are they mostly younger, older, or a mix?
I think it's a mix. And it may be more over 40 than under 40.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few women, but I think, well, they may be a fan just to support me, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, they want to see what kind of content I'm posting to maybe boost their own fan base.
Sure.
The young guys in particular are extremely impatient. You know, they every day, when are you going to post more content? And I finally asked them, I said, how often would you like me to post new content? Oh, every day.
Of course.
And I said, okay, you're thinking that this is like Pornhub, where you can go and there's this, you know, a whole lot of new videos that got posted every day. While I think of it as Playboy magazine, it comes once a month and you go through all the pages. And when you get to the end of the magazine, you don't contact the editor and demand more content because you got what you paid for. And I do content only on weekends, only during the daylight hours.
Mm-hmm.
That's for my own safety. And if my volunteer doesn't show up, then there's no content. That's just how that is.
Yeah.
And you're just going to have to go through the content that's posted and view it again. And if it doesn't do anything for you, well, then I think you're watching too much porn.
Perfectly
because
said.
It desensitizes them.
Mm.
You know, the first time it's a thrill and then the next time it's like it's boring. Really, I don't know that I want you as a fan.
But it's also this, you know, they go, well, I'm a paying fan. And it's like, hold on, okay, they're paying, say, $10. You're getting $8 of that.
Yeah.
And it's like you separate that over 30 days. That's a few cents a day. You know,
exactly.
So expecting a brand new video every single day is really expecting a lot, I think.
Yeah, you're going to be really disappointed. You know, it's like you don't have to re-up. It's fine. I can live without your $12.99.
Yeah. And then they'll come back because they'll miss you. And they'll realize how good they had
Well,
it.
and that's the damnedest thing about it, because they do. They always circle back around because they can't find anybody like me that posts the content I post. And see, I don't edit my videos. I film them, I post them, and let the cards fall where they may.
Yep.
And people have said, don't you edit this? No, I don't. And I mean, there's even a video. I was filming something. But I fell off the bed. and ass over tea kettle. And that's posted.
That's great.
It's what it is. You know, I believe in truth in advertising. Nobody can possibly say, I had no idea that you'd look like this. No, really? You know, my entire body is showing. Every stretch mark, every sagging piece of skin. It's all showing.
And that's what they love. That's what they're there for.
It must be. You know, I mean, I finally noticed the other day that my ass is getting huge. And it's like, when did that happen? God.
That's very in these days. Everyone loves a thick butt.
I had no idea.
Michelle Kardashian. Oh, it's very trendy.
Well, yeah, but she's got that teeny tiny waist, okay? Yeah. And I'm built like
human.
a box.
That's overrated. Yeah, don't worry about that. I've got no waist.
I'm built like a box, a rectangular box.
Me too.
But someone told me that I was built sturdy. This is true.
Okay.
I have a very sturdy body.
Fab.
I don't have a problem with that.
You don't want a fragile body.
No, and if you're going to have boobs that are a size 40 double G, you need a sturdy body because otherwise you'd fall over.
Yep.
Speaking of bodies, I think Jenna's got a really interesting question.
So you talked a little bit about the emotional side of things that's involved in this work, which is so often underrated, I think. But in terms of the physical, so you look like you're in great shape. But as we go through life, our bodies, they start to cause us more and more problems. And it's a job that is quite physical. As you said, sometimes you fall off the bed. So have you had to adapt what you do? And are you worried about limitations on your body in the future?
Luckily, when I do content, most of the time I'm either on my back or on my knees. I can handle that.
Yep.
Now, when I'm setting up all the cameras and I turn them, because I use 3, and I turn them all on, you see me kind of hobbling around my bedroom. Well, I have problems with my back, and hopefully tomorrow the injections will solve that problem, and then I won't be hobbling. But I'm not too concerned unless something drastically goes wrong.
So for the time being, you make it work, and you find it's quite fitting for your needs.
Well, yeah. And I have had people that say, well, you ought to change it up and maybe fuck in the living room. And it's like, I'm not going to do that. My son could walk in.
No.
Have you lost your mind? It's like, I have a very nice bedroom, and I can film in there, and I can film in my connected bath. Mm-hmm. And if that's not good enough, they should be concerned with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Not with where I am.
Not the decor.
One guy wanted me to go out in my backyard and film me running around the backyard naked. We just had a hurricane here in August, and part of my fence back there is gone.
Oh.
And it's like, I can see this. Me running around naked in the backyard, and the guy living behind me in his bathroom window jerking off. No,
not for free.
Not.
We won't be giving that to him
Not for free.
No.
See, and this is the thing they don't understand, but it's because men are visually stimulated. Usually women are not. Sometimes, depending on what they're looking at, it might get the motor going. But generally speaking, men are visual and women are not. And so men always want to see something, and I get asked for the damnedest things. And in fact, I just had a guy that asked me for a very specific custom video, which I completed yesterday, but I had 2,000 messages in my DMs on OnlyFans, and I couldn't remember who he was. And so I had to post a message to all of my subscribers saying, okay, so the guy ordered this video, and he wanted me to wear a tight top, my glasses, black stockings, and talk dirty to him. That video is done. So I need him to contact me and pay me so I can send it to him.
Because I don't know who you are.
Yeah. So I did it this morning, and I have 95 DMs in my OnlyFans. And they're all saying, send it to me, send it to me. Send it to me. And at first, what I did is I said, you didn't order it. Because I kept the message. So I knew,
Okay.
So ultimately, when I got to the 42nd message, it was the guy that actually ordered the video. And I told him, pay me and then I'll send it to you. Everybody else, though, what I told him is if he doesn't get back to me, then I may just auction it off.
Yeah. If there's 90-something people that want it, there's in demand.
I told him, the guy that ordered it, when he asked me how much it would cost, I told him $100. Now, I told him that normally I'll do a video for 10.
Oh, okay.
I don't like talking dirty. I'm not good at it. Okay. And there's a deep psychological reason, why I'm not good at it. But there are occasions when I can do it, but I'm not comfortable. doing it. But I figured, well, if that's what you want, that's fine, but you're going to pay for it. Because if you're going to make me have an anxiety attack because this is what you want, then you are going to pay for it.
Yep.
So we'll see if he actually pays for it. And if he doesn't, I'm going to auction it.
Nice.
Someone will buy it.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Someone
There's a
will.
market.
Or several someones.
Yes,
Yeah.
several. Yes.
You know, I mean, if I send it to 20 different people, you know, in their private DMs, they won't know that the
No,
other
they don't
19
know.
got it.
Yes. That's business.
We won't let
That's
them listen
right.
to
It's
this
business,
part.
honey.
We won't tell them this.
Beautiful.
I think that's one of the best things about this industry is that you set your prices, and it's about,
Right.
you know, a lot of people might go, oh, that's too expensive. And it's not about what the customer wants to pay. It's about
Right.
what's okay for you. And
Right.
that's-
This is not a negotiation.
Nope.
I mean, do you go into the supermarket and say, oh, I don't want to pay this much money for the steak. I'll give you this much money instead. I mean, will that fly?
Take it
No,
or leave it.
It will not fly.
Believe it. That's it.
No matter what you're wanting to purchase, you don't have the right to negotiate unless it's like at a consignment shop.
Yeah, or a market or so. Like there are places where that's an
Appropriate.
acceptable thing.
Yeah. But not in sex work. It's like, this is what I charge. And if you cannot afford it or you don't think that it's worth it, then that's fine with me.
Yeah.
We won't be seeing one another.
Nope. Because I'm
And
not
that's
a
fine
charity.
with me too.
Yeah.
I'm not a charity and I don't know you from Adam. Oh, and what I love is when they're young and they send me a dick
Oh,
picture
yeah.
and they go, well, don't you want to ride this?
No, thanks.
Not for free.
Not for free. No.
Michelle, I actually followed you way back at the start of the pandemic on Twitter, and I think you must have had your account deleted. Did it get shut down or something like that? Because
I had a stalker.
oh my
And
god,
he had stolen all of my content on OnlyFans and was selling it on Reddit.
gross.
And so I actually contacted him through email with my, regular email with my name and asked him about purchasing some of the content. And he sent me a picture of me. I wrote back to him and I said that's my picture and you are posting my content. And he goes, well, you have to prove it's you. And I said, no, actually, I don't. You have to prove it's you. He just went round and round with me. And then I discovered his name and where he lives and his phone number. And I sent him a text. And that damn near made him shit his pants.
Good on you. I love
And he
that.
goes, how did you find out who I am? And I said, I not only found out who you are, I found out that you're on probation. And what you're doing is illegal. And if you don't take my pictures down, I will contact your probation officer and I will have your ass in jail again. And so he went to Twitter and he flagged every one of my posts. And he also, I'd had a GoFundMe up for my surgery costs. And he contacted GoFundMe because I have a DMCA agent.
Yeah.
And he contacted my agent and telling him that he was going to contact GoFundMe and have all that money taken back out of my account.
What a prick.
So I closed the GoFundMe down and I'd had $9,000 in there. But I mean, I got the money. That's not the point. But next thing I know, I'm being banned from Twitter.
Yeah.
And I had 66,000 followers.
I remember. Over about almost nearly 2 years ago, about a bit over a year and a half ago.
And then I started a new one.
Yeah.
And then they suspended that. And then a couple of months later, when I finally had just given up, they reinstituted my new one,
Right.
which is at M70056. That's my zip code. and so now I have a little over 7,000 followers.
Yeah.
But it's been a slow process.
Yeah.
It helped that I had the documentary. I got a lot of new followers that way. But Twitter's not doing much for me.
Have you thought about TikTok?
You can't post sexual stuff on TikTok.
Yeah. You can be flirty. That's enough.
Oh, it's hard to. I posted my first video on TikTok and I got a ban within about 30
Oh,
seconds.
really?
And I was like,
okay.
oh, no.
Yeah, same here.
Okay.
I did it and they banned it, and it's like, okay, fine.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
You can watch all this ridiculous
Yeah.
stuff, but don't, you don't want to see an old lady flashing her boobs.
Ah,
Okay.
Rude. They don't know what they're
Yeah.
missing. They have no idea.
Well, that's true. And I tried Reddit and I got banned from there too.
Oh.
And it's like, okay, fine, whatever. I just I can't deal with websites that are so convoluted in their rules.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Reddit has different rules for different categories. And it's like, really, if it's this difficult to navigate, I don't want it.
Yeah.
Fair,
I'm old. I got no patience for this shit.
No.
fair enough.
So I don't know if we'll link your Twitter because it might get us a bit of a flag.
But we can link it
we'll
on
definitely,
Twitter.
Yes. Oh, we'll be linking it on Twitter. We'll definitely, in the show notes, there will be Michelle's GoFundMe, which is to buy a house for her son. And we will have your stuff. The Vice documentary will be linked there as well.
Can I just ask a quick question, which is just wanted to know, what do you think, Michelle, at the moment is your quality of life? Like, are you really happy in your life where it's at? Like, what more could you wish for? Maybe when you move, you think it'll be better, or how are you feeling about everything?
My quality of life overall right now is probably better than it's ever been in my entire adult life.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
I mean, I was poor for most of my life. Raising my kids, I was making $6.50 an hour, trying to raise 2 kids, and going to the grocery store was a nightmare because I had to keep track as I went through the store about how much I was spending to make sure that there was no embarrassment at the checkout. And I couldn't afford things that were luxuries to me, like Kleenex. And I know that sounds ridiculous, as Kleenex is a luxury. But when you don't have the money, it is a luxury. And people don't understand what it's like to be living in abject poverty. I mean, I had to go once a week and donate plasma to get $25 so that I could go to the grocery store and buy food for my kids. And so now I can buy Kleenex.
Yeah, it's the small things, isn't it?
I can buy anything I want.
Yeah, it's the little things that make the difference. Yeah.
It does. And of course, when I moved to San Diego, well, that will mean that I bought a house, and that will take such a load off my mind.
Yeah.
Well, that's so nice to hear. And I'm really glad that that's where you're at, That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful.
And sex work has been good for me. I don't know, why people are so judgmental about sex workers. I mean, I didn't get into it until I was 56, but hey, it was good to me.
Yeah.
And I was good at it, and I was like, I've been waiting all my life to know what I was going to be when I grew up.
I love
Well,
it.
I didn't expect I'd end up being an escort, but you know what? It's the one thing that actually fit me.
Yeah, I think we both feel
I
exactly
work
the
for
I
same
feel
way.
like, you're me. I get it. I know.
It's that I can choose who I see. I can choose when I work.
Yeah.
If someone comes and they're an asshole, I don't ever have to see them again. It's like, boy.
It's so empowering.
And funny, because when I was young, I had my astrological chart done, and they said that I should be self-employed. And I thought, doing what? Because I couldn't for the life of me think of what I'd be doing. But so much younger in my life, I was so religiously moral that there's no way I could have done it then. I had to have the 12 years with no sex to identify within myself what my hangups were, what I needed to do to fix me. And then voila, I became an escort.
Love it.
And it was a good life. I made money.
Yep.
I made friends.
Even some across the world. There you go. On the other side
Even
of the
some
planet.
across the world.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Michelle. It has been an absolute pleasure. It's just, you're a joy. And I think we both relate to you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, thank you for having me and invite me back.
We will have
Please.
to. We'll do a part 2 for sure.
Okay.
We'll talk to you
Okay.
soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
It's time for us to give a very big, special, grateful thank you to our patrons.
Our new giving somebody this week is REM Sequence. We have a new very generous somebody, Berlin.
Our even more generous somebodies are Paul, Catherine, Fritzia Tits, Liam, Ellen, Celeste, Wheezy, Margaret, Mudgy, Our Secret Admirer, Big M, Andrew, Scott Watson, Leslie, Nora Knightley, Miss Billy, Sub London, Lachlan, Leo, Adam Smith, Andrew, and Timmy.
Our extremely generous somebodies are Aaron, Samuel, Andrew, Pete, Theodore Betts the First Esquire, Amanda Valentina, Sienna Saint, Brino, Adamore, John T, Nick, Wombat, and Harry.
Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next week. Please look out for us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Patreon. Our name everywhere is Somebody You Pod, as in podcast. Our Patreon starts at just $3 a month, and you can get all of our episodes ad-free and a day early, plus bonus episodes, behind-the-scenes action, bloopers, and more. Thank you for taking the time to listen to the voices of sex workers. And remember, somebody you love might just be a sex worker.